Hello, and welcome back to what I believe to be part 16 of modelling a Mustang in Fusion 360. Um, so we're going to begin this episode with a standard bit of stupidity that I have since learned from. Um, for some reason that I'm struggling to kind of come to terms with, I draw the headlights from side on. I should be drawing from from this view that we're in currently. Um, just because it would be a lot easier. Um, but instead, I just tried to decide to draw from side on. What we're trying to create here are the little kind of dome headlights that fit in the sockets we cut out last time. So at the front there are kind of the central headlights, and then if you look close, there's those outer sockets we cut in. And if I decided to draw straight on from the front view, I could have just selected the surfaces that the cut extrude is done on as my sketch plane, and I could have drawn a very quick shape and edited that, no problem. But instead, I decide to draw it from side on. So yeah, so what I want to do here is I want to use that surface and project it using the project tool, which I've bound to the letter P, but you don't have to. Actually, I think that might even be standard. So now I have that circle shape, and what I want to do is create an axis, basically, for my sketch to revolve around. A quicker way of doing this axis would actually be to go into the construct tools at the top and then axis through cylinder. So if you you select that, construct axis through cylinder, and then select that circular cutout space there that keeps flash, that one, then an axis will automatically be created. But instead I've drawn a line and a profile, and I'm going to revolve it in this direction. I guess the one advantage of drawing it on this angle is it's quicker to edit how much I want the dome to kind of come out. But you'll soon see what I'm trying to do. Here, it's currently on the cut tool because obviously, I'm sketching on the wrong plane, and what I should really do is just go back and select the right plane. So instead, I click join, and yeah, I should realistically be changing the sketch plane before I do this, just because it might create more errors than are needed. So the plane that I actually should be sketching on, I created in the last episode right at the end, just by using the construct and offset plane tool to the middle of the headlight, basically. So now what I want to do, because I'm sketching on the wrong plane, I want to redefine the sketch plane, and then I want to find the sketch plane that I actually should be using. So I believe that's that one. And now if we come back to the front, there we go. Dome fits in the socket perfectly. So admittedly, the chronology of the steps I just did there was quite bizarre. I did end up with what I wanted to achieve, but I would not do it in that order. So now quickly just mirroring the new feature across. It might be worth noting as well that usually it's easier to mirror features that are new bodies and not joined bodies, because what you can be doing is selecting the whole car and mirroring it, and then having two cars in exactly the same place. So what's it called, like overlapping geometry, and that can cause problems for things like CNC machines. So yeah. So after a quick look over the car, I'm kind of deciding what's the next what's next to be done. So what I want to do is create that little air intake. at the bottom. The reason why that is because I know it's just going to be a simple, quick thing to get done. And I use a pretty similar process to what I did for the grille at the front. So I want to find a plane that's outside the car. You don't have to. I've just always found it easier to do it like that. So create a sketch, and then using the line tool and the fit point spline tool, I'm able to create that shape. So only drawn it halfway because I want everything to be symmetrical. So then I'm just going to mirror it across. So select the profiles, the sketch entities, mirror them to create one whole profile, like so. And you can tell it's a fixed profile because of the orange glow when you hover over it. So now what I want to do is extrude that into the body. So I've put that, I've projected that line from the body off of it as well. To do the same thing I did with the grill. So with the grill, I've got that kind of line that cuts through it near the top part of those headlights, and I had to do that because I wanted the way it extrudes to match the body. See from here, I've gone from object rather than extruding from the plane, and basically I wanted to make the air intake at the bottom consistent with the grill above it. So I'm using it off the body. Whereas when we did the kind of outer fog lights, headlights, whatever you want to call them, that was just a plain cut extrude. That wasn't the start point wasn't from the body. It was just from the sketch plane. So you can see how the cut, it goes 50 mil deep, but 50 mil starting from the body, so it follows the curvature of the car. But I'm sure you'd have picked that up on an earlier episode, but just in case you weren't clear, there you go. That's the lower air intake done. So I'm going to quickly hop into the display settings, click visual style, and then I'm selecting shaded, so that gets rid of all the lines. And I want to see the Mustang without the black lines. Personally, I can't work in the shaded mode. I find it like very frustrating to just work in this mode. But on fluid shapes like this car, I like to see how things are going by kind of toggling the visual style between shaded and shaded with edges. Some people can work fully in shaded. I mean, I'm not one of them. So now we're going to move on to the bumper, the front bumper. And I will kind of preface this by saying, I think partly down to how late it was in kind of the work I was doing, because I did this all kind of in the same day. I find this so difficult. It's not a difficult thing at all. It's a very rather simple shape, but sometimes I think of how I would do things on SolidWorks, which was my previous program, and then I just try and do the exact same thing on Fusion, and that sometimes that works fine, and sometimes it doesn't work. And in this case, it wasn't. This is kind of a case of something that's obvious on SolidWorks, but it's only down to more experience on the program. But yeah, there are kind of a few ways you can do this. You could do this via a sweep or a loft feature. So what I'm doing is creating a profile of the center of the front bumper. Obviously, I can't kind of see the cross, like it's impossible to know the exact cross-sectional analysis of the bumper unless you own one that you've cut in half. So that's just an educated guess for what the profile would look like right in the middle of the bumper. And the same goes for the next sketch I'm about to do. So I've just created a new plane. Well, almost created a new plane. And due to the large model, the plane is, at first I'm thinking is invisible. And this is something that annoys me on Fusion, that they don't scale the planes up. So the planes are usually, they're always like the same kind of size when you create them. So at first I'm thinking it's that plane, and then I'm going, no, it's not that one. But yeah, because this model is like huge, and like I'm working in millimeters on this program, and the car is like 2,000, 3,000 millimeters long. Probably, actually, I think it's more than that. So trying to find that plane, eventually I do find it, can sometimes be very kind of difficult. One way you can get around that is if you turn off everything else, so you at least know the plane is like switched on, and then click zoom to fit at the bottom, and it will zoom to your plane. But in this case, I didn't quite have to. But now I've got the kind of sketch plane I want. So now I want to create a sketch. I want to turn back on the side canvas. So there we go. And what I want to do now is do the exact same thing that I did in the center of the bumper. So I want to kind of have an educated guess of what the profile of the bumper will be, kind of level with where I've created the plane. Again, this is impossible to know without figuring it out or doing any exact dimensions or having like a user manual to the car. I mean, to me that looks okay. Yeah, for now. And this is kind of the point at which I would much rather be using SolidWorks. So in SolidWorks, there's a tool called 3D Sketch, where you basically draw a sketch from one plane, and then draw a sketch on another plane, and then select kind of 3D curve, and it kind of creates a drawing that from the top down is the same as your top sketch, and from the front on is the same as your front sketch. So it creates a 3D sketch. And at the time, I just wasn't aware of how you did 3D sketches on this program. Even now, knowing how you do them, I'm not particularly impressed with how you would go about them. I find it like it's one of the features that does. I think it does need fixing for them, for Fusion. But you can see I've tried to draw a sketch from one angle, and then I'm perhaps looking at drawing one from another angle, trying a sweep or a loft, and it's not going to work without that sketch being inside the two profiles. So it can't just be a sketch in a 2-dimension. The way you go about it is I now know that you go into create a sketch from one angle. It has to be a fit point spline or any type of spline, and then you can adjust it once you exit the sketch by using the move tool. But it's a little bit complex, and it doesn't feel very accurate. It feels kind of like, I know you can dimension it, but it does feel like, I don't know, almost like you're eyeballing it. It's not a particularly nice tool. Anyway, the bumper takes me about 20 minutes in total, so I'm going to finish that one in the next episode. Sorry about the gap between the episodes, just a bit busy at the moment. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, see ya.